Greetings, family. Welcome to another episode of today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community. And believe me, we got a special guest coming up at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Big up to everybody on the East Coast. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope all of you are doing well. Yes, I am not at home in Georgia at this time. I am in New York. And we got a lot of stuff coming up in New York here. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to be hanging out with my mom. My mom is here also. So big up to my mother. She's I just had some great food that she provided for me earlier today. Make sure my levels are all right. So I hope everybody's doing well. Big up to my dear friend and person that provided this T-shirt for me right here, Afro. It's an acronym, America's First Rudimentary Owners. That's what it means. Look at that shirt right there. That's a powerful shirt. America's First Rudimentary Owners, of course. Big up to all of the indigenous people of the world, all 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth. If you do want to get this T-shirt, here it is. You can get it at this website right here, transitionalhealing.etsy.com. She's one of the sponsors of the show today. Okay, she is one of the sponsors of the show today. Also, New Diamonds is one of the sponsors also. And our dear sister, iridologist, the one, the only Dr. Shakira Moore. Of course, my book's on Amazon and my YouTube page is KSP TV Media. And also, don't forget my big celebration, 30 years in the promotional and production business. Also, big up to highheelsapothecary.com. Big up to her also. She's one of my sponsors. And those who want to book a session with me, please text me your full name, date of birth, and email to 347-496-1022. Also, my new relationship book is about to come out. I'm still doing my work and editing and writing and all that. So look out for that. Nicholas Brooklyn and Nicholas Cultural, 718-858-4400, 340worldwide.com. That's 340worldwide.com. Make sure you support every one of my sponsors up here. All my books are available on Amazon and my children's books and all of that. You can go to Amazon at King Simon or go to my Linktree/King Simon, the Numerator. And big up to one of my teachers, Lloyd Strayhorn, been doing it for almost near 50 years. Big up to Lloyd Strayhorn, astronumerologist, palmist. He does his thing. Okay, today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community, again, is brought to you by King Simon Presents Only Quality People. So I'm honored to have this sister coming up at the 8 o'clock hour. It's now 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Just want to remind everybody that next week, starting in November, we have one of the legends coming up. Next week, we have the one, the only Sister Myra Moss. That Sister Myra Moss will be with me November the 4th on today's Consciousness, because, you know, she grew up with Bobby Hemmett and Velvet Blair. She was right there amongst a lot of the greats like C. Freeman L. So we're going to talk about it. We're not going to talk that much about astrology and tarot, but we're going to go definitely into what the blueprint that was laid down for this underground consciousness from back in the day. All right. And on that Sunday on November the 9th, I have this beautiful sister, Jasmine Little, will be on my stage. She hasn't been on my platform in a long time, so I am honored to have this beautiful sister. I'm honored to have this beautiful sister, a woman with a heart of electrical gold. She'll be talking about her heart journey. And I put the logo up there because that is the logo that has been supporting her heart and making sure that it pumps well. So science is very much a part of what's going on. And we're going to talk about her journey right here on November the 9th. And on November the 11th, that Tuesday, today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community welcomes for the first time on my platform, Big Chief Top Cat, legendary Big Chief Top Cat, will be with us on November the 11th. And those who want to support my 30 years in celebration, please come on out on November the 15th, November the 16th at Nicholas Brooklyn over there at 1396 Fulton Street. Drop Squad Kitchen from Delaware will be promoting and speaking Abundance Child, and they will be providing the food. Blue Pillar, Pope Pablo will be there. Lloyd Strayhorn will be there. Joshua Sarah will be there. People like Paris Williams will be there. Mama Ella will be there. Black Dot will be there. And extra people said they coming out. So it is what it is. It's going to be big. And I want to remind everybody that on December the 13th, before he goes to Ghana for a couple months, the one, the only Professor James Smalls will be in the building. The one, the only Professor James Smalls, Global Spiritual Work and How to Use It Correctly. All happening on December the 13th from 5 to 9 p.m. That's a Saturday. The tickets go on sale on goes on sale on November the 1st, but tickets are on sale for this 2-day event. If you're going to purchase for both days, you can get a discount, but I would prefer you to go to Nicholas to get those discounts for the 2 days. All right. But each day is $33. Children are absolutely free. Absolutely free for children, and that's from 0 to 17 years of age. So, and if you want to scan that QR code, here it is. Family, do me a favor. It doesn't take much to share, like, or subscribe. So please share, subscribe, like, click the bell to be notified. Click the bell to be notified. Tell your family to share and do what they got to do to be there. And today is going to be, if people want to come on the feed and come on the live, you are more than welcome to do so today. But let me talk to her first. Let me get some information out of her first before we bring people on. We probably bring people on about 10 minutes before the hour. We probably bring people on 10 minutes before the hour to ask our sister some questions. So I'll put that in the chat. That means you can either cam up or you can turn off your camera like this and talk to me like this. But this, I would rather you cam up and do all again. Again, family, support the channel. Support the channel. You can donate through Venmo at King Simon 1. You could donate through PayPal at the Numero Veda / the Numero Veda, or PayPal / King Simon. Or you can do Cash App at $ inspired by teen, or Chime. I also do Chime to keep you on time. And that's $ King Simon TAB, tab. All right. So I hope everybody's day is going good as we are approaching the last few days of November. And those who are on the streets of New York, if you find a flyer on the streets of New York in any store, any restaurant, or any, you can bring this flyer to the door and you get a discount for my event on November 15th and 16th at the door with this flyer. Just keep the flyer, bring it, you get a discount at the door from the door price if you want to come. So I have my street team on the street doing what they got to do to promote. I'll be out there probably in Harlem this week. Going around. I'll be out here for a while, family. I'll be out here probably till like December, till the end of December, probably going into January. And then we're heading back to GA to do our thing. All right. And I will put the link to the anniversary, the 30th celebration in production and promotion. If you can be there, because that's the last time I'm doing a celebration. 30 years is already a generation. I've done it for a whole generation. I've been promoting professionally for a whole generation. Although I started at 12 years of age, I have been promoting since I was 12 years of age, but I've done it professionally, starting at the age of, in 1995. I won't even go into my age thing, but I see my guest is behind the scenes right now. My beautiful sister is behind the scenes. I can't wait to have her. I'm kind of biased because she's an Aquarian like myself. I'm kind of biased, and I love her just because. And that's my sister. And she reminds me of a former girlfriend of mine. And I told her that too. She does remind me of a former girlfriend. So I laugh every time I see her. And because I know how brilliant my former girlfriend was. Big up to Stacy, wherever she is, man. And whatever she's doing in the psychology world. I hope to see her one day sometime in New York. And she's an Aquarian vibration. So without any further ado, I want to bring on today's consciousness in the conscious community and family. Remember, family, this is a troll-free zone. So trolls, please take a stroll somewhere else. This is King Simon Presents Only Quality People. She's a doctor, she's a professor, she's an educator, she's an entrepreneur, and much more. Family person, all of that. She also got a great website called consciousingenuity.org. Without any further ado, let's welcome our beautiful sister, the one, the only Dr. Oya in the building. Doc, how you doing, beautiful?
Hey, I'm doing peace and love to you, King. Look, I was backstage laughing because I know you're a Jamaican man.
Yeah.
So when you said she reminds me of my girlfriend, I was which one is this? Because I know how Jamaican men get down, honey. I remember I was in my early 20s going through the airport, going through the Kingston airport, and I remember the Jamaican men said, "Hey, little Rasta girl, come here, girl. You so beautiful, girl. Come here, you little Rasta girl. I will marry you, girl. I will marry you,
They
girl."
would
And
too.
I'm like, man, those Jamaican men, man, they have you in the bed wondering what happened. They talk you out your drawer. Come in and have you in the bed. You like, what happened? What
Oh,
happened?
my stomach. Don't do it.
Yes, them men, Jamaican men.
Let's send prayer to Jamaica and send some
Oh,
vibration to Jamaica right
absolutely,
now.
absolutely. Prayers up for Jamaica. I
Yeah, man.
actually checked on some of my folks down there in Portland, in the
Oh, you
Portland
Portland?
area.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
so
Yeah,
that's over there on the east side
East side, right,
of the island and I did hear that in that area they didn't get hit too hard,
right.
but some areas did get hit. So prayers up for
Yeah, I've been
our
checking on
Jamaican
my
brothers
family
and
too.
sisters.
I've been texting my family through WhatsApp. They haven't responded yet, but I know, my grandfather was a contractor out there, so they used to build more disaster preparedness foundations. So I know he helped build and construct that house. So if they can get
Mm,
right in that house, my mother says I'm here in New York right now with my mother, and my mother been saying that she's been trying to call certain relatives. They up in the age right now,
mhm,
so
mhm.
we got to make sure. My grandfather, before he passed on, he was born in during an earthquake back in the day, so I know
Mm,
1909. So he was telling me about that. Oh, he
mm.
told me a lot of history, man. Big ups to my grandfather who passed on and transitioned.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, prayers up for our Jamaican brothers and sisters.
yes, yes,
I've been seeing the footage on the
right,
internet, and it's to the point, King Simon, where I like it's hard for me to watch, so I just
exactly. Me too.
I kind of scroll through. But
Me too. Me too. And
definitely prayers up for them, and and I was even talking to my family. I said, look, we got to send some money down there to our
yeah,
brothers and sisters after the storm
after the
passes to
storm,
get them back on their feet.
right.
That's what we're going to have to do.
Because
As a
would,
community.
I definitely wouldn't do it now because there's too much.
Yeah, it's too much stuff going on now, but
No,
after it passed, because I heard it's still in progress.
yeah, yeah. Because
Oh
I
yeah,
did.
after it passes.
We send barrels and all that stuff. We used to send a lot of barrels because my grandfather was like the last of the patriarchal part of that passed on. So I
Mm,
haven't been there in a long time, but I still stay in contact with my father's side that's younger, about my age. They doing their thing and keeping things up. But Jamaica has been a strong force, especially consciousness in my head for a long time for music. And today's consciousness in the conscious community, like I said, family, we have our beautiful sister here. And again, today's consciousness in the conscious community. What happened? And how can we change it and heal it? And again, we will have audience participation. And she's here for my 28th episode. 28
Ashe,
episodes. So I
Ashe,
say that. And
Ashe.
first and foremost, you and B more Baltimore. Big up to my Baltimore family. I had brother Jabari on here a couple months ago, man.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I remember.
Him and I started promoting around the same time, the same years in 1995. Them times then. I've been promoting since I was 12, but professionally I started promoting
Wow.
in 1995. Now, how did Dr. Oyama get caught up or get into the consciousness of everything that's going on in Baltimore, whether it's through Jabari, whether it's through the Nation of Islam? How was it introduced to you, Dr. Oyama?
So that's a good question. I thought you and I kind of tackled that before, but that's a really good
For my
question.
new audience, your new
Oh,
audience.
it's a new. Oh, this is a new platform.
Well, I got it. Well, I'm on
Oh,
Restream, but I do have a lot more people since we.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, what's your introduction? I got what you're saying.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
at it's my story. My story doesn't change. Is and my uncle Melvin, peace
right.
be upon his soul, Bishmi Allah Rahim. He used to
Bismillah.
tell me that the truth never changes. So, if you tell the
Mhm.
truth, you don't have to worry about, well, what did I say this the last time, or because the truth never changes. So,
Right.
anyway, at the age of 15, I was in Baltimore, walking around downtown Baltimore. There's an area called Lexington Market.
Mhm, mhm.
And there I was down there. I don't know why I was there. I know I was there with a group of friends, and I know I was a teenager. May have hooked school. You know what I mean? I don't know, but we were down there. There was a brother selling books at the market because down at Lexington Market, you
Right.
have this big marketplace where you go inside and people are selling all kinds of things, food and
Right.
jewelry and books. You got Hebrew Israelites out there on the corner
Mhm,
battling folks.
mhm,
It's like
mhm.
it really puts you in the mind set of 125th, up
Right,
there with
right,
you
right,
guys.
right.
It's sort of like that type of
Yes.
thing, that type of vibe. So we were walking past this guy who was selling some books. And he said, you want come on over here, guys. I want y'all to buy some books. So my friends and I, we were like, man, we ain't buying no books. We didn't really value, like we value, reading at that time. You read for school, but we didn't read outside of that. And so, so we kept on going. And he pulled me aside. He said, no, you. He said, I'm gonna give you this book for free. And he put in my hand From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder.
Ooh, what?
I took that book home, and it sat on my dresser. And I just kept looking at the cover. I became curious about the cover, and so I opened up the book. And in this particular version, I don't know if Baba Browder wrote another version, but in this particular version, like when you open it up, he has a description of the art, the art cover. And so I started reading it, and I was like, wow, this sounds cool. It's interesting. I've never heard of this. And so then I began reading the book. I mean, so much so that it literally transformed my life.
Yes.
I started reading. They had a chapter in there, The Politics of Hair, which made me go natural. So I'm 15. I'm going to my mother. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to wear perms anymore. She thought I was crazy. And then when I was 17, I was like, Mom, I want to lock my hair. My hair has been locked, ever since I was 17. But I've been natural since I was 15, and I'm now 44. So I've been natural for quite some time.
Yes.
And then he also wrote, a chapter about Kemet, about Kemet, about, the achievements of the people of Kemet, the pyramids. And he said, we built them, and, our people from Kemet. I'm like, wow, wait. I never read history like this. He talked about holidays, the holidays we celebrate. He talked about religion, the Council of Nicene. He talked about melanin. And it was just this information. It just blew my mind, because at that time I was in high school, maybe a 10th grade. And I never heard of this stuff. I never learned this stuff. I felt like I learned more history, more Black history, reading that book than I did my entire K through, at that particular time, K through 10th, grade year. And so it was mind blowing. The book was mind blowing. It was informative. It was transformative. I'm sorry, and informative. And that put me on this path. So then once I read that book, I wanted more books, and I forgot how I got to Everyone's Place.
Right.
I forgot what my introduction was to Everyone's Place. I call Everyone's Place the Kemet of Consciousness in Baltimore. So salute to Mama Tabia and Baba Nati.
Brother Nati, that's my brother. Yes.
And so I forgot how I found my way there, but I found my way from reading that book to going to Everyone's Place, and then asking Baba Nati to recommend other books to me. And he did. He recommended Dr. Naeem Akbar's work. So I started reading, Community of Self, Know Thyself, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. Now, this is me probably around 17, 18. At 18, now I'm reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. I'm actually just in my third iteration of it. I'm on page 144. Our new it's called The New Program. So I'm actually reading my third iteration of that book. And then, then Philosophies and Opinions by Marcus Garvey. And then, so now I'm like literally on this journey, right? I'm on this journey. And then I'm meeting a lot of brothers, just keeping it a buck with you, just a lot of brothers, who helped me out on this journey. So now I'm introduced to people like Brother Jabari, who just celebrated his 30-year anniversary with Survivors Nation. We just celebrated it last Saturday at the Temple of New African Thought. So I'm meeting him. I'm meeting him and going to the lecture series Reality Speaks, and being introduced to different speakers. He brought in Dr. Browder. He brought in Dr. Newton. He actually brought in other speakers like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Shaka Musa Burshongo. He brought on a lot of those people, but that wasn't during my time. Right. But through him, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of the people who were speaking at that time. Even Baba Ashwell Kwesi has been there, several times. And so meeting folks like that. Then on this journey, I'm meeting some other folks, shout out to Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler, of the Temple of New African Thought. Have you interviewed him?
Not yet. I know who he is, but I'm not.
I had to connect you with him, and remember Dr. Joy. So remind me to connect you with the both of them, Dr. Asar and Dr. Joy. But Dr. Asar, he's a power. He's a powerful force in the Baltimore community. He's an African-centered psychologist who also teaches at Bowie State University. He also owns his own clinic you know, in
Mm.
East Baltimore. So he's healing people, he's healing families.
Yes.
And so shout out to brother Dennis, Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. And both of those brothers I hold in very high regard. So on this journey, I'm meeting him, and he introduced me to the work of Dr. Amos Wilson. So now I'm reading Blueprint for Black Power, the developmental psychology of the Black child. You know, I'm reading that type of stuff. What is it? The falsification of African consciousness. So he put me on with Dr. Amos Wilson. I'm also meeting people like I met Sinetta. I met brother, and through Sinetta's platform, I met Brother Ankh. So now Brother Ankh is introducing me to the work of George G. Jackson and Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben, you know. And so it's just, that was my journey, King Simon. And I tell people that I'm still a student, you know what I mean? I'm still a student. I'm still on this journey, learning and growing. And so that's my story.
You know, let me give that a well-deserved round of applause. Let me start. I may not have the bomb drops like y'all, you know, but I have the applause, you know, to keep it real. You know, from you know, you're around the same time, at the same age, you got consciousness. It's like I got it around 14 years of age, going into my 15th year through the 5% Nation. I was in the 5%, went through that. So through the Islam's teachings and all that, the 5% Nation of Islam. From those times, the changes that we've noticed, because this is about the change, what changed all the way up to now, because you've been battle tested. I mean, you've debated. You came out of nowhere. I mean, I done bought your stuff, Meltrex and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, you had.
First time I met you, and we've been battle tested. But from those times up to now, what is the changes that you've noticed in consciousness now over the years? Because this is like, right now we're in social media heavy. Back in those days, especially in the 90s or early 80s, when I was into it, a lot of people, we didn't have all this computer and all these phones. We didn't have all this. But what you've noticed from your perspective, especially from a divine feminine perspective, because I know men was dominating that field more.
Still are.
Yeah, women are more like, to me, women are more like the consultants in their ear, because they having pillow talks with their women, most of these guys.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
So, and sometimes we want to protect the women. We don't put her out there like that.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that's true too.
That's very important, because, you know, when you was on the battlefield, people was coming at you all kinds of
and still does. You know what I mean? I actually feel like, and that's sad, you know, to be honest with you, Brother King Simon. I think that's sad, and that's very, it was very disappointing, you know, when I came into the, I'm gonna say even so-called.
That's what it is.
This so-called conscious community.
Right.
To have to battle people that you love and you seek to build with.
Exactly.
I think that's sick, actually.
Yes.
I know when I
didn't like that at all myself. That's why you never see me engage in none of that stuff. I'm just
like, you know, you come on the scene. I remember, like, you know, and I, you know, the brothers calling everybody a doctor so-and-so, Dr. so-and-so. And then when an actual doctor, you know, comes on the, you know, pops up, you question her, you know, credentials. Is she a real doctor? You know, no, she's not a real doctor. She has a certificate. Oh, she's no, she's not a, you know, you had some people who didn't understand the difference between a medical doctor and a doctor in other subjects. So some people didn't know, like, you could get a PhD in mathematics, you get a PhD but you had some people who thought that if you weren't an MD, right, a medical doctor, that you weren't a real doctor. So you have folks saying, you know, she's not a real doctor. She's, you know, she's not in the medicine, you know, the medical business and you know, the medical industry. And I was just like, wow, you know. So even though we called it the conscious community, I realized that a lot of people weren't as conscious as they proposed to be or purported to be. Like they just really weren't. Also, just the way you treat women, you know. I don't think that a conscious man would disrespect or offend or lie on or slander or mischaracterize or assassinate the character, you know, of a Black woman, right? Like, you're thinking like, hey, I'm in this community, we conscious, we loving each other, we're supposed to be building, you know, sharing knowledge and building. But then I'm in the community where I'm experiencing slander, disrespect, mischaracterization, misogyny, Sexism. Oh, I'm not going to debate her because she's a woman. And I'm like, wow, even in academia, you know, you have men and women, nobody cares about that. In academia, you know, we battle intellectually. No one cares about your gender. Nobody cares about all that.
I think that comes from, you know, from back in the day, because even when I was watching the movie The Great Debaters, you know, and seeing that they put the woman up there, but they didn't want the woman there. They didn't want her there, especially the white audience. They didn't think of women supposed to speak out or speak in front of an audience, but women got something to say. And they're mothers of civilization.
Absolutely. So it was misogyny, it was sexism, it was disrespect.
Right.
And it really just left a bad taste in my mouth. I really concluded that that's not a conscious community. Even when I spoke to the elders, some of the elders were telling me, they said don't say I'm a part of that community. No. They'll say, call me, you know, one of my elders in particular, salute to Baba Baruti, Mwalimu Baruti, and Mama Ya Baruti. He said, don't say I'm a part of that community. He said, call me, I'm a part of the center community. We're African centered over here. He said, he said, all that circus stuff that's going over there, I'm not a part of that. And I didn't understand what he was saying years ago, that time, but I completely understand now. That's not consciousness, you know, what I experienced. So that's why I always say conscious community. And
that's what I do too.
Yeah, because you can't tell me you're conscious and you disrespecting your brothers and your sisters and you lying and you slandering. That's piss poor character. And that's not consciousness.
You know, what's so funny? I told Dr. Valentine and Professor Smalls, I'd rather put conscious community. I want to be conscious, because conscientious means doing what's right. You know, as far as helping people, you know what I'm saying? Because it kind of faltered. And I've been a big promoter, of course. Everybody know me as a promoter, and I never regret my promotional prowess, how good I am at doing it, because I've been doing it since I was a child. I've been promoting since I was 12. So when people jump on the bandwagon to get me as a part of their team, like a Polite and whoever, they get me a part of their team. They were smart because they knew how good I was on the streets. And everybody knew how good I was on the street, because remember, I was promoting reggae, conscious reggae, Buju and the Barris, and I was promoting that type of stuff. And of course, coming out of the Ansar and coming out of the 5% and the Nation of Islam, all of that I was doing promotion during those times too. So people don't realize how good I was. But those who knew, those were smart enough, they would know to jump on my bandwagon. Big up to Sister Abundance Child in the chat. Abundance,
piece of that sister.
Another sister that's battle tested, sir, man.
Yeah, she battle tested. She went through it too. Watched it.
What?
I watched with Sister. Shout out to Sister Abundance Child. I sat and watched what she went through too, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And it's like sometimes it's always more towards the more chocolate sisters. That's what I've noticed.
I agree.
Oh, I get the classism, that kind of the light skin, dark skin thing.
The colorism.
Pardon me. Jamaica has classism.
I got you. Yeah, we had classism here too.
Classism,
you know.
I mean, this is all of the Americas, so we better recognize that this was
absolutely.
Recognizing those changes over time, especially with, of course, still male dominated. Sometimes women had to punch their way out. That's why in the dojos, when I used to train, women was there with us, and we threw them, they threw us, we was in there. And they put women against bigger guys just in case, because they know you're going to have to fight bigger guys.
That's right. That's right.
Especially on the street, because there is no code of conduct on the street when it comes to attack. So even in the consciousness, when they started attacking you and then sending all types of pictures and all kinds of stuff.
I remember that.
I remember that too. And I remember we talked about it. You and I talked off the air about it. And because they wanted people to run with it and talk about it and realize that I'm a person that called people behind the scene, or I listened to what's happening. And I said, let me check this out. So in the conscious now, from when you got it at the age of 15 to now, what are some of the changes you've noticed, and how can we heal it or try to reverse what is happening?
So what have you saying? So one thing I have noticed is that, think about this, when we were coming through, notice that when you asked me what was my introduction to consciousness, notice I said a book. Right. I'm reading a book, you know, and so and then look at who I mentioned. I mentioned Dr. Browder, you know, Anthony T. Browder. I mentioned Dr. Naeem Akbar. I mentioned Dr. Amos Wilson. You know, I'm mentioning, you know, different people, Carter G. Woodson, and even the work of W.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington. So my introduction was a book.
That's right.
Now the introduction to consciousness or you say knowledge of self, is there you go. It's a cell phone, and you don't know what you're getting
No, you don't.
when you tap in, right? Like you don't know what you're getting because you're getting pulled from so many different directions,
Right.
and there's so many different personalities,
Yeah.
on social media. And what our people believe is they believe that the more popular you are, that the more, I don't know, accurate your information is, or the more on point you are. And really, that's not the case, right?
Right.
Because I'm noticing that the people who are real popular, and I don't know if you want me to say names, if I
I
can't
mean, you
say
can go
names.
anywhere you want, but
Okay,
I got a disclaimer. Don't worry.
okay, cool. If you want to throw the disclaimer up, you could throw the disclaimer up. But somebody's, introduction to consciousness now may be Dave Conaway, whatever his name is,
Dan Calloway.
Dan Calloway, who's online telling young kids that Harriet Tubman doesn't exist, that Nat Turner doesn't exist.
Crazy. I didn't
That
even know that. I don't watch him like that. I don't even watch him.
Like he put that out there. Like he put that out there, that these people didn't exist. Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner are fictitious characters made up by white liberals because of an agenda. We're not from Africa. We've always been in America. Slavery never happened. The transatlantic slave trade was all a farce. It was a lie. And so and he has 500,000 subscribers. He has
I just hear his name. I don't pay attention to it. No, I try to keep it positive.
I'm with you. You don't want to invite that stuff into your spirit. I'm completely with you. But my point is that this is what these children, he said, let me throw this disclaimer up here. So, but my point is though, that this is their introduction to consciousness or knowledge of self. Oh, you've been fooled. You've been bamboozled. And I'm not saying that we haven't been fooled and bamboozled, but is it to the degree where Harriet Tubman doesn't exist and that Nat Turner doesn't exist? So that's my point. When we got introduced to consciousness, it was real scholars on the scene. It was real, like you talking about your Dr. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Okay. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Even I got books over there by Sheikh Anti-Joke. You got Sheikh Anti-Joke. You got Dr. Ben, So when we were introduced to consciousness, it was real people doing real research.
Boots on the ground.
Now it's a bunch of folks online with a microphone,
right,
showing stuff that they didn't Googled. They haven't really done. And I'm not saying that you can't do some good research on Google, but you have to know how to use it, right? Like Google's just a tool. You got to be able to understand references and is it a scholarly reference? Who published it and why? What kind of So my point is, when we came through King Simon, the scholars were on the scene. We got introduced to some real scholars. Now they're being introduced via the internet, and these kids are told anything. And because they haven't been taught critical thinking skills, I'm even say thinking skills, let alone critical thinking skills. But because they haven't been trained, because no one has developed that skill, I always tell my students when I walk in, how many of you feel like you think more than you believe? Everybody raise their hand. I think. I said, no, you don't. I said, I would easily argue that people believe more than we think, because thinking is intentional and thinking is a skill that has to be developed. And I would easily argue that a lot of people don't know how to think, let alone critically think. So these kids or these young adults, they're tuning into these platforms and they lack the knowledge and critical thinking skills to decipher what's authentic and what's flat out pseudo. And so that's what's happening today. And that's the biggest thing I see between, our generation and coming into consciousness and then this generation. Where are the real scholars? And I'm not talking about somebody wrote a book because you didn't cut and paste some stuff off of Google. I'm talking about people who have really did some research. They're coming with some novel ideas that they have evaluated, that are peer reviewed, meaning that the experts have looked at your stuff. They put their stuff. What's that in the community? It's like, I've never been in the community, Brother King Simon, where everybody's everything. In this conscious community now, everybody's everything. Everybody's an expert at everything. Everyone's a master teacher. everyone's a scholar. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And that's another thing that's new. Go ahead.
And that's so funny, because I know you got to be off at 9 o'clock, right? You have to roll. You did.
Yeah. But keep
I just
rolling.
want to make sure you are.
Yeah. I'm good.
But again, I've watched the John Henry Clarke and even Kaba Kamene.
Yes.
He went through. He got his doctorate, but he won't promote doctor. He's a professor. He says professor. Professor James Smalls is a doctor. Got his doctorate, but they won't promote it because they was vetted by their elders. You had to go and speak before your elders and prove yourself worthy. At that time back, even when I was telling, and I commend you because I remember you breaking down something from Cheikh Anta Diop, and I'm glad you didn't tear him down. I remember that you didn't tear him down. You try to add on because back
there you go.
What they had, they that's what they could deal with, because I remember being at the UAM with Alton Maddox, and some of these elders would say, "Yo, we had to be like spooks who sat by the door." Getting their money and going to get the information and coming back to us to talk. Because remember, Alton Maddox, I don't know if you know who Alton Maddox from UAM, the United African Movement, he beat the courts in New York where they would not allow white people to come into in his venue. He beat them. They tried to fight him and said, you're not allowed to do that. He said, wait a minute, if Jewish people are allowed to not invite other non-Jewish people in, then I should be allowed. He beat them in the courts. And that's when we had our own little secret conversations in there. Of course, you had your agents, but the elders that came in there said, yo, even Van Sertima, he said, yo, they had to go behind enemy lines, endangering their life. Runoko Rashidi, said he had to carry cameras as small as this to get in and take the picture of certain things because they wouldn't allow you to do it, or you would get arrested or get killed. And a lot of these, my brothers and sisters, I'm the younger generation don't realize what the shoulders that they're standing on when it comes to this consciousness and the things that I heard just sitting at the UAM over there on Slave Theater back when I was younger. I mean, Dr. Khalid coming in and everybody coming in from everywhere doing what we got to do. So I commend, again, you adding on where there's others that's destroying or trying to destroy the legacy. Please.
And that's not cool. Yeah, and that's not cool. And I've had conversations, and I'm gonna tell the truth on your platform. You could put up your disclaimer.
Please, I got it.
You know my guy, Uncle Cat. That's my boy.
Yeah,
I love Unc, but Unc and I battle behind the scenes all the time.
I can tell.
I can honestly say, King Simon, that he is evolving, and he comes back to me, even though we battle it out. He'll come back to me and say, he say, Doc, okay, you I remember you were trying to tell me something, because he wanted to come in and tear it down. These elders don't know what they doing. It's pseudo, it's this, it's that. No. I said, Unc, check this out. And I said, sometimes you get it wrong.
That's right.
Sometimes you get it wrong. And I said, and that's okay. It's the job of the people who are coming behind to say, let me not throw it out.
Right.
Let me keep it and let me make the necessary corrections, and then let me add on. That's what you do. Because I told him that our elders and our ancestors, they did the best they could. They did the best they could with what they had at that particular time. Now we have access. Even my father says it all the time. Shout out to my pops. My pops was born in 1947. He's 78 years old. Yes. And when he listens to my platform, he said, baby girl, I didn't know that when I was coming through. We didn't learn that. I thought this, or I thought that, or I did not know this. And so we got to give our ancestors and our elders grace.
That's right.
I'm talking about intellectual grace.
Yep.
Yeah, give them intellectual grace, because what they knew was based on the knowledge and information they had access to at that time. Now we have access to more information. We have a computer in the palm of our hands. We have Chat GPT, even though Chat GPT can get it wrong a lot of times. I argue with Chat GPT a lot. I'm like, that's not accurate, Chat GPT. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. And they try to update itself. But my point is, our elders and ancestors didn't have, the tools, the technology that we have today. So we got to give them intellectual grace. And guess what? Not to share with Unc this, I said, we're going to get some things wrong too. And the next generation is going to come behind us, and we will want them to give us
That's
some
grace.
grace.
And that's why I say you be careful of disrespecting those elders, because when you become an elder, people start throwing bricks at you because tell me how many people have gone into the forests of South America and found information like an Ivan Van Sertima?
Nobody.
Who's doing that kind of work? Who's going into the digs like a Tony Browder and everybody that's doing the digs? And we need more archaeologists. If you're gonna claim Mexico or the indigenous, I tell them, if you're gonna claim whatever you claim in here in the Americas, make sure you got the archaeologists to do the digs.
There you go. Go do the digs, right? Where your archaeological digs? Absolutely.
And because I know that's been a lot of disparaging things going on between what is FBA and what is this and what is that. And I acknowledge that lineage. I respect that. I defend that. Finding your lineage, your heritage, and all of that. But don't discredit the connection that you have around the world.
That's my point. That's my point.
It was so funny. Assata Shakur, but may she rest in peace. It's because she had alliance in Cuba. That's why she was able to be, she wasn't extradited from Cuba.
That part.
So you have to have alliance with all the melanated people around the world.
And then check this out. She was going to go to Zimbabwe. I don't know if you heard it. She was going to go to Zimbabwe before she went to Cuba. You know, but like you said, because she had alliances.
Don't disrupt and destroy that, because I'm under the premise of what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says. We are the original man and woman of the whole planet. All 196,940,000 square miles of it. That's where I'm standing. I'm not going. Why should I give up why should I give up the planet, which we was here, like Dr. John Henry Clark? We was here thousands of years before even Europe came out of the goddamn mountains. So
right.
So
I mean, real talk.
Real talk. And and I see the battles on Sonetta. Big up to Sonetta. I'm trying to get him on my show so we can talk, but he keeps on ducking me. It's all good. He might be watching now. But I commending you for adding on to Cheikh Anta Diop. Again, he may have gotten certain things.
It was just an equation. It was just an equation that he did. When I was looking at the equation, I was like, okay, so he kind of, and it could have been a misprint, because think about it, his work was translated, right? It was translated. It was in French. And shout out to Dr. Tony Browder. I actually had the opportunity to go to. It was a bookstore. I don't know if that was established by him or a cousin or somebody, but I went this summer to Paris.
Oh, really?
One of the oldest Black bookstores, in Paris with Dr. Browder. Okay. And they had a lot of the work by Cheikh Anta Diop. I think this particular bookstore was probably the first bookstore who printed Cheikh Anta Diop's work in I think French and translated it to English, something along those lines. I forgot the significance of it. But the point I'm making is that it could have been a misprint, somebody could have, mistranslated it and put it in English. And then by the time I'm reading it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is so it could have been a misprint. I say I corrected it, but like I said, it could have been a misprint. But when I did that, our people started attacking me. Who the hell she thinks she is to correct Cheikh Anta Diop? Who does Dr. Ma'at think she is? And I would easily say a mathematician. I could take that, it's math.
It's math, right?
It's math, and like I said, it could have been a misprint. I don't know. But, I had to make the correction. And our people had to understand that it's nothing wrong with correction. It's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. In critique. Our people think, when you critique something or you provide constructive criticism, that you are attacking it. You're attacking someone and you're trying to degrade them. No, critique and constructive criticism, it helps us grow. So
hold on before you go moving on with that. Critique does help us grow, but I'm wondering why you never contacted Dr. Professor Jeffries, because he was one of the translators of Cheikh Anta Diop's work.
I didn't know.
See, because he speaks French fluently.
Okay.
And he was one of the translators along with other linguists that was there to translate. And he was still young enough to even tell you what was going on. And I'll give him and I should have called you about it, but he got older and he's like, he can't really articulate the way he used to articulate. Big up to him. I think he's in a home right now. So he's gotten older and he's like 90 something years old, but he's the one. And because I realized when it was brought up, and I said, this was just a few months ago. And I said, oh man, that's right. I remember him saying that years ago that he was running off the French. Like, I mean, he
Wow.
sounds like he's a French man from Paris. And he was running off the French.
Wow.
And he was one of the people that helped translate Dr. Shenkat Diop's work, because he used to always promote that book. He was the one that had it brought over here and got it translated. So he would have been probably the one at his younger stage to really
Right.
get
To
that
really tell,
information.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
But had I known, I would have definitely
yeah, I know.
welcomed the
Yeah, I know.
conversation.
You study, you're a researcher. So I'm glad that his wife is still alive. Somebody you could talk to on your. I'm gonna give you the number. Somebody you can contact to talk to his wife, who's also a doctor.
Yes. Yeah, I
arts.
met her. I met both of them. Met
Yeah,
both of them a
Sister
few times.
Rosin. Yeah, you should
Yes.
interview her. She's so
And she's
beautiful.
sharp. She's sharp.
She's still sharp to this day. But moving right along, like I said, you was battle tested, especially with the Black woman is God concept.
Oh Lord.
and as a feminine, a beautiful woman yourself, I'm gonna ask why you didn't defend that. Black woman is God from your perspective.
Yeah,
I'm not supporting. I know the balance.
No. Yeah. So for me, I was always about the balance.
Right. Me too.
I just didn't like the narrative.
Right.
That the brothers, now when they used to say God is a neutral,
Right.
word or neuter noun or something like that,
Right,
and I'm
right.
like, yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
But when they started introducing pseudoscience to substantiate their point that that, because you're right, you see female deities all the time, all throughout, like African, history and culture, you see it.
But there's a balance.
Yeah. So that never was my debate.
I was there when they first thought about it at a kitchen table. I was there with him and Natural Tahuti.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And God, we gotta talk about Natural Tahuti. Is he get out of jail yet?
No, he wants me to interview him from jail. So I'm gonna see how we're gonna do. I just don't want to give my address away to the prison.
No, I don't blame you. No, I don't blame you. Nobody want to do all that. No. But yeah. And I loved what he. I think what he, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think what he was trying to push was, typically when we think of the higher power, the creator, we think of the higher power in masculine terms.
Right.
And I think what he was trying to argue was the feminine, the feminine, he was trying to argue about the creatress, the goddess. He was trying to right. So I think that's what he was trying to.
He came from the 5% nation, so he came from that doctrine, which is only man.
Yeah, so I think he was trying to, say, hey, no, y'all, let's look at it from another. God has a feminine side too. You got the goddess or the god. God can be a woman too. So I think he was trying to introduce that, and that's fine. Right. But what I was really battling was the whole idea of that pseudoscience. You had the Polite then was pushing, parthenogenesis, and women can have babies. Women can have babies by themselves, you don't need no man. And then I actually started hearing sisters in the community like, we don't need no man.
They're still doing it.
Yeah. We don't need no man. We can have babies by ourselves. And I'm like, try it. Try it. I would love to see it. Try it. So it was a lot of that type of stuff. They were saying women can produce sperms through the bulbourethral gland. I forgot the name of the gland, but bulbourethral gland.
I forgot. I know.
Yeah, bulbourethral gland. Women can produce.
Promoted in Dr. York's book. That's why.
I heard. But you can't produce sperm without testicles. Cut it out. And then you had people saying, "Oh, it's in your bone marrow."
That's what they said.
So one person said, if you chop off some of your bone and you stick it in your vagina, you can impregnate yourself. You can't make this stuff up. And I'm like, man. So that was my issue with the whole Black woman is God thing. It's like I didn't have an issue with brothers honoring the feminine principle,
right.
And elevating and honoring the feminine principle. Right. But I had an issue with them honoring and elevating the feminine principle based on pseudoscience.
Right.
That was my issue.
That's become a big word, like narcissist, pseudo. It's become a big word.
That means false.
Yeah, I know what it means. But it's become a big word because I know even when certain parts of Kemet and certain parts of Africa was invaded, things that they didn't understand, they would call pseudo, especially Europeans. Especially if they didn't understand it, they call it pseudo. So are we throwing that word around too much?
We could be.
And just like narcissists, like that,
just like narcissists, everybody's a narcissist. And even
they
when
don't
I
even
talk,
know the history, the mythology of narcissists.
yeah, and they don't, and people don't even understand what it is. And like
exactly.
Dr. Asar said, because I brought him on my platform, he said people don't even understand what narcissism is, let alone, he said they couldn't even define for you what is a personality. People don't even understand what a personality is, let alone able to diagnose it as being narcissistic.
Right.
You know, so it's crazy. But I can see what you're saying, because I do hear a lot, like you said, when people don't understand something, oh, it's pseudo, they made it up, it's pseudo, it's pseudo, it's pseudo, it's pseudo. But in this case, with the black woman is God, that is pseudoscience to say that a woman can produce sperm. You can't produce sperm. Has a man. When men produce sperm, your scrotum is like a manufacturing plant.
Right.
That's where your sperm is being manufactured. And you need different things. You need, what is it called? The seminal vesicles. It's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that they need to make it happen. Women do not have that. We don't have that in our uterus. We don't have that, in our ovaries. We don't have it. We don't have the equipment to manufacture sperm, which is manufactured in your scrotums. And so in this case, pseudoscience stands with me. I'm not saying that it's pseudo because I don't understand it. I'm saying pseudo because it's absolutely false.
Exactly. I bet you in the next 20 years, probably the hermaphrodite is going to come out with something crazy. They're going to come out, and it probably, the science is trying to do something. They're trying to do something in these test tubes and these places. They're trying to do something. We already know they're trying to do something. And it's a shame that, a lot of us are not in the sciences. And I want, before you get off, because I know you got short time, I want to definitely go to why it's so important for you to promote the sciences that you do important. I'm going to show your website, because people don't understand. Conscious Ingenuity is your website here. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I want to make sure people know, welcome to Conscious Ingenuity. And what is it focused on? Explore all the young empowerment programs. And so tell us about this website, and tell us about I don't want anybody to get away from the science that you've been promoting all this time, please.
Absolutely. And so I found it. It was crazy, King Simon, because it didn't all come together at one time. It was kind of like Conscious Ingenuity Institute developed over time. Initially, I started with the program. It was just a program called Conscious Ingenuity, right? It was just called Conscious Ingenuity. And Conscious Ingenuity was a program that was created to increase Black participation in science, technology, engineering, art, agriculture, and mathematics. And that was really my objective. My objective was, I'm like, man, we need more of us in the sciences, right? Because 5% of engineers and scientists are Black. So we're not in these spaces. So I wanted to establish a program that targeted Black youth. That was my goal, to get us in there, and to introduce STEAM to them in a way that piqued their interest and kept them engaged and kept them excited, and also introduced them to STEM in a way, or STEAM in a way that strengthened their comprehension of STEAM concepts, that made them want to become scientists, engineers, and mathematicians and technologists and stuff. And so it started there. And then we were able to get several contracts with schools in Baltimore City. So Conscious Ingenuity became an after-school program in several schools in Baltimore City and throughout Harford County school system. And then I said, daggone, I want to reach Black children no matter where they are. So I need some sort of virtual STEM camp. And so I approached, shout out to Baba Amin and his lovely compliment, Mama and Koyo. So I approached him and said, look, if you go up King Simon, go up right there. So I approached him and I said, Baba, I want to start, a virtual STEM camp. And I told him that I would want him to teach STEM history. And then I would follow that up with, cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, machine learning, and programming, right? And so we were trying to think of a way to combine, what he was doing, UA, that's the Hoover Academy, that's his school. And then I had Conscious Ingenuity. So he called me up. He said, I think we should call it the UACI. And I
Mm.
was like, and then he was like, well, if you want to do CIUA, we can do that. I said, CIUA doesn't sound right.
Right,
I
right.
said, UACI sounds tight.
Yeah, that's
So
tight.
we kept it with UACI STEM camp, and the goal of that camp was to be able to expose Black children to STEM no matter where they were.
Mm.
And so we started that in 2022, Conscious Ingenuity in 2021,
Yes.
the UACI STEM camp in 2022. That same year, my son Jalen was turning 12. Can you scroll down, King Simon?
Yes, of course.
He was turning, yeah, he was turning 12. And
Yes.
so I said, man, I need to put him in some sort of
Yes.
African-centered manhood training camp.
Mm.
And I was looking for them, and I noticed that all of the training
Mm.
camps or rites of passage programs, they were really for men,
Right.
18 to 21 or 25 and above and all of that.
Mhm.
So I said, well, let me approach Baba Imhotep Fadiul
Yeah, my brother Imhotep. Yes, yes,
yes,
yes, yes.
of PLM. And I came to him, I said, Baba, I want a camp that focuses on young boys between, initially, I think I told him 12 to 16. And he said, no, we should keep the group kind of tight knit. So 12 to 14. I said, that focuses on manhood development, critical thinking,
Right.
physical fitness,
Yeah.
character development, conflict resolution, culture.
Right.
And so we came up with the Asafo training camp.
Yeah.
And I said, Bob, yeah, I said, so we've been doing this since 2020, 2022. And I said, Baba, I need a sister camp now. We can't just, start with the brothers. So he said, well, we're going to get the guys camp going, and then we'll get the girls camp going. And so
Right.
give thanks in 2024, we started, if you scroll down again, we
Right, yeah.
started the Agoji training camp.
Right. Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
shout out to Mama Gina
Yes.
Fatiou, beautiful sister.
Yes.
And so Baba Imhotep put me with her, and he said, you all do your thing. And so this sister, I mean, when she came on board, King Simon, it's like she took over.
Yes, of course.
Because she'd been doing this stuff, for decades. And
Right.
so she came in, and she had all beautiful ideas, the logo, the curriculum, the
Right.
books that the girls use. She brought in a whole team of sisters and mamas and elders, and and so give thanks for her. So we had the Agoji training camp. And so all of these
Right.
under the umbrella of Conscious Ingenuity
Okay.
Institute.
Okay.
So
Man.
3 out of the 4 programs are
Powerful.
partnership, right?
Powerful.
Like PLM and
Yes.
Uhuru Academy.
Powerful.
But all of these are offered, under Conscious Ingenuity.
Now,
Institute.
I'm proud of you. Again, make sure y'all go to consciousingenuity.org and support, donate whatever you can to the family, man. Big up to my brother. I met him at the UAM too, Imhotep, my brother Imhotep. I met him at the UAM. He spoke there, and I bought his books, of course. So no,
Sharp brother.
Tell him I need to get his number. So text me his number again, so maybe I could get him on.
Okay.
If he wants to come on, no problem, because he is definitely a good brother that I would love to have on. And I lost his books in the storage, man. My son lost storage because of miscommunication and lost all like 1,500 books.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, signed by Dr. Ben. I had books like, oh man, Bob Marley's manager signed books. I mean, I lost books.
You said
in Georgia. I lost it in Georgia. I'm like, I shed.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. Mott, when I said I shed one tear.
Oh my gosh.
I said I knew I needed to release something. Something body needed to go, and I understand. But I
you ain't expected to be that.
No, I ain't expected. Not because of miscommunication with my son and his wife. I didn't expect that. But
and King Simon, do this. I want you to go to meltrek365.com.
Hold on.
Because I want to talk to the people about this, because it seems like it's a deliberate effort for them to erase, enslavement and colonization. And we call that the Ma'afa.
It's Meltrek. Right? Say it again.
Meltrek365.com.
365.com.
Yeah, if you could show that on the screen.
Of course.
Because I think it's important. I think it's important, King Simon, that our people arm themselves with tools.
Yeah.
To teach this history, because they're trying to erase. We're under the what they call it, the black erasure. They're trying to erase our history right now.
Find it. I got it. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I can drop it in the private chat if you want me to.
I think I did. This is it, right? Is it?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes. So if you scroll down, King Simon, I want you to scroll down. Keep going all the way down.
All right.
Where it says our family, right there.
Right here.
Right there.
Okay.
I want you to click on the last one. That's Meltrek Exploring the Ma'afa right there.
Okay. It's
Just
coming
click
up.
on, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay.
All right,
And
good.
so we have a digital download available at
Right,
meltrek365.com
right.
for all of our films. So if you go to meltrek365.com, you scroll down, click films, you get access. You can gain access to
Wow,
Meltrek Episode 1, Exploring Ancient Africa,
wow,
Meltrek Episode 2, Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas, and
wow.
Meltrek Episode 3, Exploring the Ma'afa Part 1, The Arrival of the Portuguese. The objective of Meltrek Episode 1 is to
Mhm.
teach our children that our history doesn't begin with slavery, right?
Exactly, exactly.
And so they go back in time and they explore, ancient African civilizations. They're in Kemet, they're in Ghana, they're in Mali, they're in
Wow,
Songhai, they're in
wow.
Zimbabwe, they're in Zulu. They learn about Shaka Zulu, they learn about different kings, Askia Muhammad or Muhammad, yeah,
Yeah,
Askia Muhammad, and
mhm,
just different African rulers. We talk about melanin.
of course.
They say they use words like Hotep,
Right,
throughout the series, and Hotep means peace,
right,
and
right.
so that's Meltrek Episode 1. Meltrek Episode 2, Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas, talks about the Black and brown presence in the Americas before Christopher Columbus. So really, the indigenous people,
Right, right,
right, that look like you and I,
right,
right, that were in the Americas prior to the arrival
right. Of course,
of Christopher
of
Columbus. And
course.
so they learn about the mound builders of North America, the the Hopewell Mississippians. They learn about, they go into Mesoamerica where they learn about the Olmecs, Aztecs, and
Mm,
Mayans. Then they go into South America where they learn about the Incas. I
mhm,
actually
mhm.
showed, when I went to King Simon, when I went to Mexico
Right,
for my birthday in 2023,
right.
I actually went to Chichen Itza, and I
Mm,
showed my tour guide a clip of the Mayan ball court and them playing the Mayan ball court. And he was so happy
wow.
that the culture was accurately depicted in
Mm,
Meltra. I actually have a video of him
right,
shouting us out. Like, man, I just saw it. Like,
wow.
man, this was lovely how we were depicted. So anyway, that's Meltrek Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas. And then lastly, we
Mhm,
just released in 2024, I believe it was February of 2024, we released Meltrek Exploring the Ma'afa Part 1, The Arrival of the Arrival of the Portuguese. In
mm,
this particular film,
right.
we take the kids back in time to learn about the origins of the transatlantic slave
Mm,
trade. So
mm,
it's when the Portuguese first came into West Africa. So we talk about Prince Henry,
right,
we talk
right.
about some of those Portuguese enslavers who came over. We talk about even African spirituality. They're exposed to Ifa, like one of
Mhm,
the
mhm, mhm.
griot or the jelly. He
Right.
summons Orumila. They learn about Sankofa, going back to get, so they learn those different concepts while they're learning about, this
Mm,
this time in our history when the Portuguese came in to West Africa.
right,
And
right.
so they learn about that. And so, but it's important that we tell our story,
Of course.
and that we continue to support, artistry like this, right? Because now you got AI making characters and drawing backgrounds and doing all that type of stuff. This project was real artists, like
Yes.
drawing the characters, drawing the backgrounds. Like, this wasn't no AI generated anything. Like, this was artists who were like drawing everything. And so we gotta definitely support and continue to tell our stories.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I just shared it on Instagram. I shared it on my Facebook. We're broadcasting on Facebook and on Instagram also.
Beautiful.
So make sure people get and support. Again, my sister can't be here too long. We got to shut it down at 9. Make sure y'all support our sister at consciousingenuity.org and also meltrek365.com. Make sure you go to that website, go straight to the film, go to the products, go to all of that, and help educate your children in any way you can by any and all means necessary, because
Okay.
they are AI is putting out some false narrative and people claiming it to be the Akashic records and all that. That's cute, and it's scraping the thing, but sometimes it gets it wrong, gets a number, but the numbers it got it wrong. I'll be like, y'all bugging now. Yeah, see, I'll be
No
on
doubt.
it. I'll be like,
No doubt.
I said numbers don't lie. Why are you lying? What y'all doing to me?
Simon said, numbers don't lie. Why you lie?
Why you lying?
Right.
Okay, just say you don't know.
There you go. Just say you don't know.
Last question. We got like 4 minutes. But I know you could answer this in 4 minutes. Spirituality. Where does science and spirituality come together? Because a lot of people talk about the metaphysics, but I read Michio Kaku's book, who is a string theorist. He got metamaterial, beyond the material. He changed the whole metaphysics to beyond the material. So where does science and metaphysics come together?
Oh, I thought you said science and spirituality.
And spirituality, which is
yeah. I mean, I think that science is a tool to. I think it's a tool to understanding. So first of all, let me say this.
Yes, please.
I think spirituality is really about understanding the world around us and how we fit into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's what I think. I don't think when I think of spirituality, I don't think of anything spooky like it's a ghost. I don't think about stuff like that. Right. When I think of spirituality, I think of us just trying to, because we are nature. We're part of nature. Right. And I think that, spirituality is about our connection to nature, understanding ourselves, understanding nature, understanding the world around us, trying to understand the seen and the unseen. Yes. Right. And I think that's what it's about. And I think science is a tool that allows us to do that, and so that, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. So I think science is a tool that allows us to understand ourselves, the world around us, the seen and the unseen, and and our connection to. That's what I think. It's just, to me, science is a tool that allows us to do that. And I think they go hand in hand. So, for example, I just said this at a to a class at Bowie State University. I was lecturing down there. Shout out to Dr. Saul Winkler. I was just down there last Tuesday. I was there, and we talked about engineering, and I said that engineering is a tool that allows us to express our cultural beliefs, like our culture, because even think about this. So a lot of people would look at like the Step Pyramid or the pyramids of Giza, and they say, oh man, that was a great engineering project. Or look at the science behind the pyramid. That was a scientific project. But those were tools to express our spiritual beliefs.
That's right. That's right.
Like think about the Temple of Karnak.
Yes.
Or in Luxor. Right. They use STEM, they use science, they use engineering and math as a way to express their spirituality.
Right. That's right.
So to me, I think that science and spirituality go hand in hand. It allows us to understand the unseen and the seen. Right. It also allows us to even express our spiritual ideas. So that's what I think. I think science and spirituality go hand in hand. I know that Unc is going to probably look at this. Oh, Dr. Mott, how can you say that spirituality and science go hand in hand? How can you say that? Because of the way I define spirituality.
You define it exactly. And it's interesting. I read Nikola Tesla's autobiography. And he shows that there's times when he was doing experiments, but he had to go to sleep and get more downloads through dreams. So I'm like, whoa, I mean, he didn't say downloads, but the way they expressed it, you could tell that's what he's getting. And that's what he was saying in his autobiography. That's why he was called the maverick scientist. To this day, they use in most of his science, his technology that he came up with back in the day. And, so I was like, wow, it's really a thin read. If you get it, man, go read the
autobiography
of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla. And they got a biography, which is thick. Go get the autobiography. It's like 72 to 100 pages. Get that, because that's directly his words, period, translated. And you will believe me, you will enjoy it. I know you will enjoy it. You was like, damn.
Beautiful. And I'm gonna check it out. Especially, you said it's an easy read. You said
it's only easy read. Don't get the biography. That's written by somebody else. Somebody else did their thing and did. But I know I can't keep you, my dear. I want to thank you so much for coming on and spreading love, man.
No problem. No problem. Always. Look, I wouldn't. If if I didn't have to go to work, because usually my bedtime is at 8:30. I know I'm telling on myself, but my bedtime is usually like 8:30, and and I got exams tomorrow, so I'm
Okay.
gonna be up. Look, I'm gonna be up bright and early. But other than that, I would have been hanging with you.
Yeah,
I definitely would have been hanging with you. If it wasn't past my bedtime and I didn't have exams to
I understand.
disseminate, I would hang with you. But I
Yeah,
appreciate your invite to be on this platform.
man,
I
I love.
always appreciate building with you. I think you're one of the most intelligent people I know. I love talking to you. We'll text each other and
Yeah, we
have
do.
conversations. And you've always, King Simon, you always been just a cool brother. You know
Keep
what I
it
mean?
real.
Like, you never had static with people.
No,
You just
I ain't got
always
no
been a
problem
real
with that.
down to earth brother.
I ain't
And
got
so
no.
I appreciate, and even during those times where,
Yeah, of course.
I was being attacked, you would reach out and say, look,
Yeah, what's up?
this is what came up, this
Yeah,
is what was said. What do you think
exactly.
about this? Let's talk.
Of course.
And that's real.
That's
That's what
right.
real people do.
Yeah, I don't
You
do all
know.
that online stuff. I call you. I got your numbers. People talk about me. You got all these guys talking about who claim to be Moorish and all that. And I call them behind the scenes. They don't answer my call. I got their number. I'm like, grown men. Dr. Khalid taught me that. Grown men call each other. And either we're going to talk it out or we can knuckle it up. It's up to you where you want to go.
Exactly. But we're going to have let's have the conversation. So no, nowadays they make videos about you.
I ain't got no time.
Instead of calling you, they just make a video. And I'm like, why are you making video? It's just King Simon is so immature. And the sad part is, you would think it was like the younger generation doing that.
No.
And I'm looking on the internet, and it's grown tail men and women online in their 40s and 50s, making the 60s, making videos about people instead of just saying, hey, let me have the conversation.
Exactly.
Let me pull that brother up. Let me pull that sister up. So you always have the conversation, and that's what I love about you. I love your spirit. You always have a positive spirit.
I'll call him behind the scenes too. I got no problems calling people. You can call me this and call me that. I'm gonna call you like, bro.
And have the conversation.
Yeah, Dr. John Henry Clark defends certain stuff that I say and do. So y'all better stop playing. I talked to him directly back in the day.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, I love you, man. I
love you too, King Simon. Love you too, warrior.
Right?
Love you too, warrior.
And give your sons and the family, man, some love, man. And thank you very much. I'll be sharing this in my family chat. Also, your Meltrex. I gotta share with my I got 15 grandchildren, so boom, they gotta go. They gotta go.
King Simon, I'm losing count. I remember at one point it was like 9, and you said you had.
I have 9 children. I have 15 grandchildren.
Oh, 9 children, 15. Yeah. Oh man,
9 is still there. 9 is still there.
You ain't got no more coming, King Simon.
No. If I get married again, or I've been married 3 times. So if I do it again, I would probably. If she wants it, like, yo, let's do it.
Now, y'all ain't got no problem giving out no baby.
I got no problem making it. I'm good. I'm born here in America, but Jamaican and Cuban roots.
Right, that's what I say.
All that. I got the reggae and the salsa and the hip hop inside of me. So we
could go. I give you one. Why you say I give you one? They said, hopefully nobody else coming.
I know, I ain't working on too many. I ain't doing that. But my grandchildren is the beautiful one. But I love you, Dr.
Love you too. Love you too, King.
Much, all right? Peace and love.
You take care. Peace and love. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let me give you a round of applause before you leave. Let me give a round of applause. Yeah. Did a great job. We're going to talk, okay?
All right. Peace and
love. Oh, man, that's my sister, man. That's my sister, boy. Woo! Aquarius like me, man. Big up to her, man. Big up to the Aquarian energy, man. We always just keep it 100 with each other. So Dr. Oya, my aunt, she was our guest. She's a doctor, professor in one of those universities out there in Baltimore, and educator, entrepreneur, and much more. Make sure you hit her up and go and support. She didn't even send me her Cash App or PayPal. She just sent me websites to support consciousingenuity.org and also meltrex365.vhx.tv/products or meltrex365.com. Go to that website there and support her and what she's doing, man. I really admire and respect what she's doing and the whole crew over there in Baltimore. Big up to the Baltimore family all the time. Be more. Be more, don't be less. That's all I can tell y'all. Be more, don't be less. That's all I can tell y'all. Remember, coming up, we got our sister Myra Moss Myra Moss will be with me next week on today's consciousness in the conscious community. You know, she was right there. She's one of the contemporaries of Bobby Hemmett and Delbert Blair and all of that. So she gonna be with us, Sister Myra Moss, on November the 4th. She will be with us live and direct. So I want y'all to be in the building. And then after that, on the 9th, I have my beautiful sister, Jasmine Little. Now, I don't know if she's related to Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, but I think her husband's name is Little. That's why. That's her real last name is that's her husband's last name. So Little, a woman with a heart of electrical gold. She's actually that thing called ticker that you see on there. That's what's facilitating and keeping the strength of her heart going. And I want her to talk about her journey and how important it is to maintain and take care of your heart while you got it. And I'm glad that there's certain mechanism that can help. And she hasn't been on my platform in a long time because she was going through her own thing and her own journey. And now that she's feeling better by what she's doing, I'm so proud of her journey. Enough respect to her. And coming up on November the 11th, we have the one, the only Big Chief Top Cats, today's consciousness in the conscious community, coming in the building. At least this brother, he's another one that's willing to travel and go and do. But I keep on telling them, they got to have archaeologists, those type of people. You need those people that's willing to spend money on that dig and do really real boots on the ground research. So we're going to talk about it. Him and I are going to talk about it when he comes. And on the 15th, Abundance Child and Blue Pillar will be the keynote speaker for November 15th and November 16th. Man, it's only $33 to get in, more at the door. But if you show this flyer, you show a snapshot of this flyer, you can get in for a discount at the door. It won't be the same price if you show the snapshot of the flyer, or if you have one of the solid flyers that I have. You can show one of these solid flyers that's on the street too. Depends on where you pick it up. You find one of those solid flyers and get on the street and bring it. It's right on the bottom. Your discount at the door with the flyer. All you have to do is show the flyer and give it to them. And if you want, you can scan the QR code right here. Scan these QR codes right here for advanced tickets. We got the event. You can be there at the live event in Brooklyn, or you can do the live stream. We got 2 different events going on, the live stream and also that we'll be doing it for both days. All right. And also, I want to make sure we shout out some of the sponsors that are sponsoring the show. Big up to my sister. Okay, I got to put the disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Of course, you got to put the disclaimer. And big up to 340worldwide.com. Make sure you shout Miss Williams out and go and support and get your network flourishing and business popping. Also, New Diamonds. Big up to newdiamonds.net. Newdiamonds.net. Make sure you support her. She just had a great interview on her YouTube channel with B. Dell. Big up to B. Dell. He'll be coming to Nicholas, Brooklyn in January or February. Also, make sure you join my membership so you can get this exclusive psychoanalysis breakdown through the numbers. And that's part 1. And part 2 and 3 is going to come with some real people in the business of psychology and psychoanalysis. I'm going to have them come up and speak and teach also privately on the YouTube membership and also the Patreon membership. It's going to be uploaded to those things. Big up to the iridologist or iridologist, Linktree/Holistica Healer. Your eyes hold the blueprint to your entire body. So get an iridology or iridology consultation from Dr. Shakira Moore at holisticaPalace.com. One of my great doctors that helps me out a lot. Also, High Heels Apothecary.com. Botanicals that support the health of the body. Make sure you go to highheelsapothecary.com. If you want to book a session with me, text me your full name, date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's text me your full name, birthday, and email for details. And those that are seniors, 60 years and older, you do get a discount, 40% discount. Those that are members of Patreon and YouTube membership until November 1st, 20% off for y'all. Also, my relationship book, still working on it. We have to work on it. And big up to Nicholas Brooklyn and Nicholas Cultural. If you want to find out more information, get 10% off. Call 718-858-4400. And do remember, my books are on Amazon. All of my books are on Amazon. Make sure you go to Amazon and put in King Simon, or go to my Linktree/King Simon, the numero Veda. Big up to my beautiful sister. She's the one that made this shirt right here. AFRO, acronym meaning America's first rudimentary owners. All right. So big up to my sister. Go to her website if you want to get these t-shirts that I have on. She sent me like 3 of them. Beautiful t-shirts. I brought them up to New York from Georgia. So I'm here in Georgia, right in New York right now. And last but not least, let me shout out my brother, Lloyd Strayhorn, all the time. All right. Just want to make sure all of that is good, family. Want to thank each and every one of y'all and being a part of the journey. Want to thank each and every one of y'all for being a part of the journey. Remember what Dr. B says. I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. Remember what Dr. Blair says. Please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open up my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth and your love now. Family, have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful anytime that you might watch this. Remember, share, like, and do what you like. Make sure you get all my books on Amazon right now. Family, remember, I love you because I love me. Thanks to Dr. Oyama Ott for coming on and spreading her scientific love and her conscious love. Thank y'all. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you might be tuning. Peace and love.